Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to round number 3. That's right, it's Suzuka. It's One Hub Racing season number 2. And it is a double special event this evening. Not only is this one going to help decide where the drivers, which split they'll be in for the rest of this evening, we have a new commentator joining us. It is Mr. Christian Romano himself.
Hi everyone, great to be here for the commentary, and I hope to give a great job filling in with on Kane, and I hope you can have fun watching the races.
Excellent indeed. The man himself, of course known in ACC circles as ERS Chromatics, he will be joining us for the rest of the season. And what the rest of the season it already promises to be. It might only be round 3 with 5 rounds left to go, but this round will decide which split the drivers are in for the rest of the season. That's right, there's still 5 weeks to go after this evening. That is the wrong page, so is that one. Why is there 2 of those open? Doesn't even make sense. But of course, after this evening, we are off to Monza, Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Kyalami and Imola. But it will be after this evening's races. The drivers will be split into 2 splits. The top 10 and the bottom 10. Split X and Y, Y and Z. I'm sure it's one of the 2. But that is where they will be driving for the rest of the season, with prizes available for both splits. Oh yeah, keeping it interesting. That with, of course, the Going Gets Tough award. That's all the entertainment you're going to need for the next 6 weeks, or certainly 5 after this one. And nudge nudge, wink wink, it might be just a little splash wet out on track for our drivers this evening. And yeah, definitely not wet behind the ears, although he has been thrown right in at the deep end, as he said, in the footsteps of Kane Dinham and Jessica Ball herself. He is more than accomplished on the track, and he has absolutely blown me away with his commentary in the past. Prepared to turn enthusiasm levels up to 2.7 million gigawatts. It is indeed the man I mentioned. Chromatics, Mr. Christian Romano. Christian, absolutely fabulous to have you on board, and a pretty pivotal part of the season for you to be joining in as well. That enthusiasm dial is going to be pretty easy for you to turn up, I'm guessing.
Yeah, considering today is the round that divides the grid into 2 different championships. It's going to be crucial for some of them. We have some top and some top of the grid, which Car Mentalist, who has won the last time in Spa and is currently first in the championship. But there are certainly some other challengers who wants to get on the top, like Yuri B, who is getting some difficulties in his championship, but it's not over yet. Like how is it said? It's not over until it's over. Everything can still happen. The practice is currently wet, and there could be rain even in race. And some drivers are more prompt towards a dry setup than a wet setup, and some are in the other way around. So everything can still shuffle the championship.
Really can, it really can. Straight to business. Chromatics, I love it. He's absolutely chomping at the bit. There is the calendar on screen. First announcement we'll do before we do the results, because it's given away. Let's congratulate Mr. Floppy Fox for his driver of the day performance last week. 63% of the fan vote went to the Foxster himself. So congratulations there. As you can see, he finished in 2nd position. There is the official results as from last week's race. It was Car Mentalist, as Chromatics mentioned, took the top spot of the podium. Floppy Fox in 2nd, and Art Connor finishing in 3rd. A name that was also mentioned, Yuri B. He did get PP. Pole position! Of course, sorry, but absolute mind blank there. Technology was in the back of my mind, weighing heavily. But Yuri B did get pole position. Didn't finish in the points in the top 12 though, giving us a results, our standings, sorry. As 3 minutes left of qualifying. Excellent. As we can see, car mentalist there, 37 points. Second is Mix, 64, 11 points behind. On the same as Art Connor. Those three you would think looking pretty comfortable for going through with there being a 20 points available for the win. Floppy Fox there in 18th with APX Rogue on 19th, just in there behind. SOP Cool with a good recovery drive to get himself some points, much needed. He's on 15, Blue Mosquito on 14, so all very close there. 13, 12 points, 8 for Tropic. The Mighty Iggy in there as well. Yuri B down in 12th, Leon Seeley in 14th, SOP Milden down in 15th position. Incredible stuff to bring us these stand-ins. And at this where do we even start, Chromadix? It's your first night in the box. We've got big hitters that might not make the top 10. We've got a wet Suzuka for our drivers this evening. Where do we even start?
Probably from the ones who feel the current track the most. I will start from Iggy. Iggy has said that he currently has some confidence in the car, the best he had in months. So honestly, he is 11th in the championship, and he just needs 1 point above Tropic to get onto the top 10. So I think he is one of the ones to watch. Him and Floppy Fox, because they are the ones who said that they are the most confident about them, about the car, about everything, the car, the track, the condition, the setup, the preparation they got. Whilst there are still some names that currently a good chunk of the grid doesn't feel confident at all in this track, mostly because of its Suzuka is not an easy track, honestly. There are certain points that are crucial to do perfectly, and also sometimes you can just nail one of the two parts of the track. Most of the times your setup is more prompt to first sector or to the second sector. You can't have a setup nailing both sectors because of the structure of the sectors. The first one needs some softer anti-roll bars, needs a different way in how the aerodynamics is made, whilst the second sector is a bit slower in certain points, and it's way more technical and sharp, so you need a loose car in a certain way. Some of the drivers probably went tried to get a stable setup more than a fast one, mostly because it's raining and there was the possibility to rain, so most of them could have chosen to go to a safer approach and to wait for the other to crash, which isn't a good thing to say, but that's the plan for some of them. And most of them instead went for a full-in setup, so getting the fastest way possible around and putting all the confidence they have on this final round, which is the most important for them, considering this is the final round before the division. So we will see. Honestly, Car Mentalist said that he isn't so confident on his car, so we could see someone win. Some of the bottom ones to win instead of the classic top ones.
Indeed we could. As Chromadix was alluding to there, that was of course the driver interviews. They were asked all kinds of questions. There was 5 at all. This track feels more suited to sports cars than F1 cars. Do you find this to be the case? Split decision with some of the drivers on that one. What kind of setup are you looking to run? Which Chromadix almost called you Kane there. It begins with a C, it begins with a K. It's going to be tricky. Do you think your chosen car is an advantage or disadvantage to the track? How confident do you feel ahead of this week's race? Always a good one. And is there anything that hasn't gone as well over the first 2 races that you need to work on? So we'll bring you some of that in the outlap, which they are just about to start. So
No, it's qualifying still need to go.
It's yeah, qualifying. Yeah, don't panic. We are still in qualifying. Let me just make that happen. We will jump straight on board with Car Mentalist. Hopefully he'll get out early this time. Here he goes. There we go. Returning champion and championship leader. About to take a very, very, very long outlap. Art Connor was in the media room as well. And he was asked, it's fair to say you know how to finish on or near the podium. Do you think if you qualified a bit higher up, you may be contending for wins each week? And he said, I don't think so. My qualifying performance is there, and I've had the pace to be starting in the top 4. I have just not been able to get the laps together to be there yet. But everyone that's ahead are typically faster than me anyway. Consistency is what gets me where I am. My pace is still a bit off the top guys, unfortunately. And it is heartwarming to hear someone as quick as that refer to their pace as being off. So, thanks very much for that. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Let me get you some game sound that came on prematurely. Let me know how everything is running. I'm in full paranoia mode. After equipment failures, let's have James Lee. There's Dexter, and there's Colin Mason. How you doing? You're all getting songs this evening. Now that we're into qualifying, let's just have a quick word from our sponsors. Of course, the events here are sponsored by a plethora of groups. Most importantly, in my humble opinion, is the Mental Health Foundation. It is good to talk, much like when I had a full meltdown yesterday, thanks to the man Kane did it himself. Yeah, a conversation is sometimes all it needs. If you don't have someone like Kane in your life, well then you can reach out to the Mental Health Foundation. Their website can guide you to a plethora of options to help getting yourself back on track. Self-care is the most important thing, and mental health should always be as high as possible on your tick list of things to look after. Other sponsors, of course, you have Next Level Racing. They sponsor the league by providing a direct drive stand to the driver who gets the most driver of the days in the Formula 1 leagues. And we've got Free M Sim Racing. They sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves. And we have partners. Vespertine, partnered with Vespertine, who support our championship prizes. And of course, Mr. Dex in the chat. We've got the ERT Going Gets Tough Award. And that is here for ACC as well. Any driver who completes all of their media day obligations, finishes outside of the top 3 and attends every race, will find their name on a wheel at the end of the last race of the season, which I will be spinning, and they could potentially win themselves the choice of a £25 PlayStation voucher or Amazon voucher. And of course the driver prizes for Group X and Group Z, the only combination of those 2 letters that I didn't go for. They will, of course, win. Oh, fireworks! It's going to be a fun one tonight. They've got oh, there's that's full on in the street. Excellent. They've got the choice as well of £25 PlayStation or Amazon vouchers. Let's jump back out on track. Still waiting on the first actual times to be set. It is a very long outlap. It is a very long lap. It is one of my absolute favourites to drive, built in 1962 by, of course, Honda. And now a magnificent 3.6 miles long of absolute tarmac perfection. And just to make it that little bit more interesting, this evening the track, the running conditions are set to greasy with a minus sign on the rain. So that is going to make things very, very, very interesting as far as tyre choice goes. Chromadex, one of the things I'm often praising you for, apart from just being all round awesome at driving and all that type of good things, good stuff, is your race IQ. It is annoyingly, devastatingly high. Given what you're seeing here at the moment, I'm assuming the drivers are on dry tyres. It was touched on in the driver interviews. What is Chromadix doing at this point in time, and what sort of race setups are you popping into your back pocket? Definitely having a wet setup there as a backup, perhaps.
It's actually it's one of the most difficult to condition, this one, because it's raining, not enough for the rains. It's drying up, but it's not dry enough for complete dry setup. So set up wisely, you don't need to hike to get an higher car, because there isn't enough standing water. You don't need to get an higher car. So the only thing I would change for qualifying is actually the wing, or even lowering the car and getting a more stable floor, something that isn't too loose. So actually one of the best car in this environment is probably the Honda, because it's very stable, but also the Ferrari, because it's astonishing how stable it is on every condition, and the Bentley. Whilst the Audi has the most difficulties, because the Audi itself is very loose, and then you put even the last tiny margin of grip it has, and you rip it off, so it's not the best of conditions. Actually, I wouldn't, and I'm saying it for real, I wouldn't go on track until the very last 3 minutes, because the longer you stay on track, the colder the tires become, and also it's completely useless because the track is getting drier. So I will stay on pit, as I think Mix is doing, until the very last moment, because the tires are hotter, you have more grip, you are currently more stable, you have less fuel, and theoretically you're faster overall. So going out now, it's more something going against you than helping you, to be honest. For the race, if it is like this, that's difficult. If it stays wet, honestly, if it stays wet consistently, so it doesn't change, I would pit as soon as possible, because the tires can last very long. Obviously not an hour, like first 15-20 minutes I would pit, not longer, because you risk to stay behind someone for too much, and actually losing time. And that's actually something that can backfire. If the track starts to dry up, you don't want some used wet tires, because as we saw in Turkey in Formula 1, the longer you stay on the wet tires, in the intermediate for F1, but in this case it's the same, the wets become some kind of interslicks. So if you pit just before the tracks becomes drier, not completely dry of course, but becomes drier, and the wet tires, you risk that you get some tires that are too hot or too cold, differently from the situation, respectively if it's drying up and you are on wet, or it's getting more wet and you are on dry tires. So it's actually difficult to say how you need to do, because the track really varies so much. Overall, if it's wet, pit early. If it's drying up, you need some hot dry tires, because the more heat you can keep on tires, the more grip you have, and that's something that doesn't come easy. You really need to keep the tires as hot as possible, and losing time because you want to pit early is not a good thing. It's very difficult overall. If it stays like this, also you have to adjust the pressures, because you need higher pressures, and also that you can backfire, because if it's dried up, if it starts to dry up, your pressure is going to be higher, and you lose grip, and you lose temperature because there is less contact to the surface, and therefore the tires gets colder because there is less less surface attached to the floor, to the tarmac, and so on. That's actually what I can say as it stands. I can say more as the weather gets clearer, because as it stands right now, it's the weather for qualifying, so I'm not really sure how it's going to be for the race. But that's overall, if it stays like this, even in race, a scenario that could happen.
Indeed, it is a bit of a coin toss, and it is a coin toss between who is the quickest driver or quickest car in Sector 2, Yuri B in the Ferrari, and flying from. I've been sitting here excitedly in the background watching these times come in as we get this expert track analysis and tyre data analysis from Christian. And I tell ya, if we look at those times, Yuri B and flying from, Lexus and Ferrari have set identical Sector 2 times, 55.194. That is the only purple sector that Yuri B actually has. Flying From has got the purple sector in Sector 1 and shares it in Sector 2 with Yuri, and Leon Seeley holds the record in Sector 3. And if you look at the times between Yuri B and Flying From in Sector 1 and 2, it goes to show why we've got a time difference of 48 thousandths between the top two. 3/10 between the top four. And then a gargantuan 9/10 back from 4th back to 5th. Miles and away the biggest, most unprofessional thing I've ever said, but miles and away the biggest gap I've ever seen in qualifying. Some drivers really not getting to grips with these conditions. Mix 64 is coming out to get to grips with them for the first time. Was he listening to Chromedix? It is just under 3 minutes to go. So he has.
I said it.
He's given himself a 1-lap shootout, Chromedix. Do you think he can? I mean, he's done not too bad at all, finishing in the top 3, but there are some serious times. Yuri B, Flying From, Leon Seeley, Floppy Fox, very quick. What do you reckon? Do you reckon Mix is capable of mixing it with them and getting himself up into the top 3, 2,
Lexus
1?
in greasy track, yes.
There we go. He is in the Lexus, as you said. Oh yeah, so this is your lap. Let's jump on board. Hopefully that is not too loud. We'll jump on board and we'll do a lap with Mix while the rest of them iron themselves out. Leon's in the pit, so he won't be setting another time. He's in 3rd. Will that be where he is in another 2 minutes and 5 seconds into the first corner, which is actually known it's the first corner coming through Snake and into anti-banked curve. Very much a juggling act on and off the accelerator here. Oh, and he's lighting up that back end. He is perhaps going to regret giving himself this 1-lap shootout, because I tell you, that's a lot of time lost already. As he comes up through Dunlop, he'll be coming down to what I affectionately call the Lesmos. It's what anyone that actually knows anything about motorsport calls the Degners. Hi, Kieran Clifford, just in case you're in the chat before he sticks me in for that one. But coming through the what was that, Chromedix? I imagine that was a curse in Italian, was it? No.
No,
oh, invalidated, sorry, yeah. Yes.
He went out on Degner 1 and the lap was useless, so he will start from P20. Ooh. So the tactic was right, the procedure was slightly wrong.
Yeah, just not quite. Yuri's still out on track. Floppy Fox, so now 4 drivers within 3/10. Bruno's up there as well within half a second. Tropic and Car Mentalist getting themselves in there as well. Car Mentalist is going to cross the line here. Has a wiggle on the exit. And he's going to have time to do another lap. Does he improve on this one? Yes, he does. Oh, yeah. And I do feel bad because you could hear the genuine disappointment in my voice when there was massive gaps between the qualifying times. But oh yeah, it's coming down now, even in the rain. 8 drivers within 7 tenths. Art Connor and Mike Iggy right on top of one another pace-wise. Iggy where he needs to be to get himself into that top 10 position. It's Floppy in the Ferrari leading the way. It's Leon in the Ferrari in second position. Has he found any more time? Is that more than a tenth? He's going to come flying across the line. Oh, he's got pole, he's got pole, he's got pole, he's got pole. Carmentalist is still out on track. So is Brunner, so is Milden. Milden is at the hairpin. Connor's got the checkered flag. Iggy's got the checkered flag. Oh wow, so it is down to Carmentalist and SOP Milden, last season's 2 title protagonists, the last 2 to set times for this lap. Carmentalist coming in to Spoon. Yes, he is. And it's 1:30 actually, so Milden is ahead at the moment. Oh, right on the edge. Love to see the dedication there in the Aston Martin, although he forsook the Ferrari, so he could struggle to be a contender here. Chromedix said that the Ferrari is good around here. Just saying, Milden, has he found any time? Is it going to be enough to challenge for a top 5, potentially a top 3?
Yep.
Oh, and I tell you what, Carmentalist, something's happened there. He's in 4th, so he must have invalidated his lap as well. So there we go then, round number 3, and let's jump on board Carmentalist. He's in 4th before it all goes pear-shaped, but we will bring up that timetable, and it is Yuri B. He took 2 purple sectors after all with pole position, 2 minute 4.5. There we go. There is 4 minutes because apparently the drivers have got a lot of things to do. Let's see what the weather's saying. Oh, it's greasy and the rain is going to be constant and the track temperature has dipped by 2 degrees. Excellent. Yuri B on pole position, doing exactly what Yuri B needs to do if he has got any hope of getting himself into the top 10. Hope is most definitely still alive, but it is going to be a big ask. He really does need to win this race to make sure he finds himself in the top half, currently sitting in 12th position. We'll bring that up on screen as well actually in 2 seconds. Floppy Fox in second. That's going to do him wonders as well. 5th in the championship, flying from, and 3rd Carmentalist on the second row of the grid, flying from. He's in 4th place. 2 podiums in the first 2 races. Find him top of the tree, and 4th position is more than comfortable for what he needs to do to get himself into the top split. We've got Leon Seeley in 5th and Bruno in 6th. Leon really coming alive in this round. Some underwhelming starts this season. Sorry, there's a lot of fireworks going off in this street. It's going to be a jumpy one tonight. Bruno is in 6th. SOP Milden in 7th. Tropic in 8th. Blue Mosquito in 9th position. The Mike Yigi in 10th. Art Connor in 11th. SOP Cool in 12th. Eddie 13th. Cablo 14th. Corrado and APX Rogue 15th and 16th. 17th is Jason. 18th, you having a giggle, mate. 19th is Casper, and Mix 64. He is a serious championship protagonist. He is 2nd overall. Is he resting on his laurels ever so slightly? Potentially not giving it the points. It would take a rather wonderful series of results to see Mix drop outside of the top 10 split, but the first key to those events unfolding are him starting in the back of the grid, so you never know, but yeah, Chromonix, it's certainly an interesting one. Yuri B, as you mentioned, He is the driver that's got it all to do. We do expect him to be in the top 10 split. Not right at the moment, but he's put it on pole position. Do you think the pressure might get too much, or could we see... him fall by the wayside with the pressure being too much?
Well, in the last races, he had some great difficulties, probably because of pressure. And therefore, I think in an hour race, it's not to be a bad person, but at the moment his standard is a bit under the what he can do. Probably he's suffering from the anxious of being in the top 10, and I think this is the best opportunity possible ever imaginable for him. But of course, he's starting for pole. He can do any better. The only thing he has to do is just bring it home, because the most of it has been done. Getting the car on top, getting there. It's raining, so not everyone is going to force too much the attack. So he can keep everyone behind. It's Suzuka, so the spots for overtaking are not in high number. I really think he just needs to keep it stable and don't exaggerate. That's what he needs to do. That's it, and then he can get the top 10 without any problem.
Indeed, he is in the best possible starting position. Floppy in second, Flying From in third. We're on board with car mentalist. Let's just say that the spoiler car there. There's Leon Seeley in the Porsche. Definitely underperformed as far as I've been concerned. Maybe expecting a bit much. It is a serious field. We did have car mentalist during the pre-season race. Tell him himself it was indeed a 6-way race for the title. Could we see some casualties fall by the wayside this evening? Yuri B definitely on the bubble. He's in the right position. SOP Cool on the bubble, not in the position he would be hoping to be in. I can absolutely assure you of that one. Let's put that there and that there. Excellent. Have some usage out what's left of the PC. Hopefully it makes it all the way to the end. The drivers, of course, do have their mandatory pit stop to take. With that in mind, Chromedix, I'm assuming that most of the drivers are going to have fueled as long as possible, with an idea to keep the pit strategy as flexible as possible with the changing weather conditions.
It's a choice most of them needs to do, little because it's not certain, but it can still vary. Although, if I was in the mid pack, or I qualified barely, which is a thing I'm pretty used to, and I noticed that the ones in front of me are slower, I will try to do something crazy and pit straight on lap 2. I need to be honest, because you risk to lose a lot of time being behind someone slower in the rain. Furthermore, if you are faster in the order of tenths, because in the wet the gaps between lap times of the drivers are way higher than the normal. Instead of 1/10, you have 2-3 tenths between each other in a race. So that's what the strategy is going to be: going full long as possible, or going so short that literally lap 1 and then box, or going in the mid hour. But that's not something I would expect so much. Therefore, it's nothing that can happen, obviously.
Indeed, there is a wide scope. We do have one more 75-minute race before the end of the season, the last race of the season. I thought it was 3 races. Yeah, I'm just terrible tonight. We've got 3 60-minute races and then 3 75-minuters back-to-back, Silverstone, Kyalami and Imola. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how tyre choice plays out in those races. But here we go. It's the beginning. Is it the beginning of the end? It's definitely going to be the beginning of the beginning for some drivers. We are on board with Championship Defender. It is Carmentalist. He is 4th. He's top of the tree. He's returning champion as I keep stumbling over. We're going to see some green lights and we're going to see some first corner action in a corner named First Corner. There is the green lights and we are away. It's a great start by Leon Seeley in the Porsches. Absolutely swallowed that Lexus, and I tell you, the Ferraris have both got a good run as well. Looking at the background there. Oh, and there's a bit of contact. Bit of contact there, and I tell you, this SOP Milden is going to make the most of that. The Lexus falling by the wayside. There is the Ferrari in the background, the Tropic Rock making ground as well. We've got a couple of drivers running a bit wide, but it looks like everyone has made it through the first corner, indeed, through snaking into anti-bank curve. Then off we go racing, and it's Yuri B still leading the way. Floppy Fox is in second with Carmentalist in third. Flying Throne was the Lexus we saw fall by the wayside. He is now in 5th position with Leon Seeley and Bruno making their way through the field. Or have I got those two the wrong way around? Let's just have a look and see as they come into the Degners for the first time of asking. Still got all 20 cars running beautifully at the moment. It is Bruno down in 6th, sorry, and Flying Throne down into 4th. Leon Seeley in 5th. Mike Yegi still in 10th. Leon SOP Cool has made it up a position as well. He's now up into 11th with Art Connor in 12th. APX Rogue is in 13th. We've got Eddie as well in 14th. Mix is up 2 positions then already in 18th with Jason and Casper now 19th and 20th. Casper a fair way down the field, so could well have been an incident there. All very close though, as you would expect on lap 1. So we'll jump back on. The man leading the way is Carmentalist in the Audi. Chromatics himself said very difficult car to get a grip of around this course, throwing a greasy track, and it is a whole lot of handful and juggling. But it is Carmentalist, unsurprisingly, managing to juggle that expertly and keep that Audi to the end of lap 1 on a podium position. Bruno and Milden closing up there with Tropic Rock tucking in the background. Blue Mosquito through the last chicane successfully with Mike Yegi and SOP Cool still close in attendance. Art Connor breathing down SOP Cool's Ferrari driver neck. Go Team Ferrari! I'm not biased, you are. Let's have a look at Flying Throne though. He's not in a Ferrari, he's in a Lexus, and oh, I tell you, he's getting all over the back of that Audi. I think we are seeing a visual representation of the difference in grip between these two cars, as expressed at the start of the broadcast by the man next to me, choking to get a word in. I'm dying to catch my breath here, but this is a phenomenal lap 1 and 2, and we've already got 2 battles here. First and second going at it, and third and fourth with 5th, 6th and 7th all wrapped. There's battles all down the field, Chromatics. This is phenomenal start. Congratulations, welcome to your first night commentating on One Hub Racing, bud. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, racing in the wet is always so great. Oh, Yuri has lost a position on Floppy Fox.
So he has.
Floppy Fox has made a position on Yuri, so now Yuri is in second, is just in front of the Audi Carmentalist.
Wow.
And
yep.
And actually, I need to be honest. I'm surprised by Carmentalist, because the Audi usually on the first like seconds, it's like half of the track. It's completely useless. Like the tires are. The Audi doesn't have a good time management in terms of temperature. So I'm pretty surprised that he managed to keep up with the Ferraris, who are actually pretty good in every condition, especially the colder ones.
Yeah, indeed, he really is got to grips with that. And it's a
Oh,
new
there is
car.
a Lexus going in the Porsche.
A Lexus
Yep.
going into a Porsche. Oh, Leon and Bruno, is it?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
they were
5th
fighting.
and 6th?
Yeah, they were fighting, but Bruno has settled himself behind the Porsche towards the. Oh, there has been a crash. The number, what is it, 92? The 92 has had a crash with the other Bentley. It is 65.
Oh, yeah. Well spotted. That's Eddie in the Bentley. And yeah, Blue Mosquito then has tumbled down the order as well. So
Yeah, he
yeah,
was ninth.
wow, he's now 16th. Mix up to 14th. Mix has played a blinder. He only came out in the last 3 minutes, I think, to get the little bit of tyre data he needs, and he's carving his way through the field. The top 10 finish definitely on the cards. But I'll tell you what's on the cards is a long 55 minutes for Chromedix as we try and ascertain and throw some educated guesses. And yeah, I did say that as it meant. Onto who's going to finish on the podium, because right now
Ferrari into the Honda of Figgy, and the Ferrari going in the outside of the Degner. Oh, they touched it, and the Ferrari is in the sand.
Oh, that corner's touched him as well.
And the Ferrari is off.
Oh, he's not kept out of the wall. SOP cool up in the 9th. Oh, and he's lit up the back tyres. So a bit of a touch with Iggy, a bit of a touch with Connor, and that has led to SOP Cool losing an absolute hatful of places. We're going to have to leave him there though and jump back up to the front. Carmentless finds himself 1 place to the good. Floppy Fox finds himself 1 place to the good. They are respectively 3rd and 1st. Yuri being flying from the 2 victims of their overtakes. Leon Seeley is in 5th. He's got Bruno closing the gap, coming out with Spoon along into 130R. We can see off in the distance there. Oh, the lead cars all making their way through. 7th and 8th. Oh, pours down just as we change cab. Now Leon lights it up on the exit to 130R. Wrong side of the curb. Bit of Vin Diesel Fast and the Furious action. And he has seen himself overtaken by 8th placed Tropic Rot. So Milden and Bruno all gaining there from the sideways action of Leon Seeley. Down to 8th place now. The greasy track conditions really not what the drivers are enjoying, but it's difficult to say that without sounding slightly happy. Sorry peeps, because it is making for some phenomenal on track actions. Things still very close right through the field. Casper looking to get a move done on Eddie down at the back as well. Eddie involved in the incident, of course, with Blue Mosquito. Find themselves down towards the back of the grid. Milder trying to get a move done on Bruno. Now he finds himself in 6th position. He will be hanging on to that with everything he can. It's going to be Leon Seeley trying to get that Porsche back up into the top 5, get as many points as he can, get into that top 10 split for the second half of the season. Still unbelievably close up at the front of the grid then. I'm on board with Car Mentalist. Chromedix, talk to me about what we're seeing here. Some phenomenal stuff, and the tyre choice is really going to play a big factor as well.
Yeah, actually I think the major factor in everyone's car is not going to be the setup, it's not going to be the preparation, how if they prefer getting a dry or wet track, because as it seems is neither of them, but it's the tire pressures. If they manage to get the right tire pressures, so around 27, because I don't think anyone is going to with the wet tires, they really can gain in the order of half a second every lap if they really gain the right pressures. So especially the cars most sensitive to this factor, like the Audi or the Bentley, which are very sensitive to have wrong. Oh, there is the Ferrari of Yuri B into the Floppy Fox, and Yuri B is inside. Ooh, they nearly touched it. And Floppy Fox is still in front, but Floppy Fox tries to defend on the outside with Yuri B in the inside. It's going to be the other way around for the left-hander, first of the S's.
Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, the lead of the race very nearly changing hands, and the championship leader has an absolute grandstand view to it, and so does the Lexus of Flying From. In fact, the Lexi, that's a group of Lexus in case you wonder.
Oh! Floppy Fox nearly lost the car on the outside, on the exit of the left-hander, and Yuri B is
oh!
And Yuri B is off track.
Oh, the
and Floppy Fox right there.
Wow. Yuri B. Floppy.
It's a disaster
socks.
for the championship. Exactly what it doesn't need to happen for him.
Unbelievable. That's the Audi of Apex Rogue just come through. That's 11th. There's, oh wow, he's now got mixed 64 ahead of him.
Yeah, the Ferrari of Yuri B is completely destroyed. The front, left, no, what is it? The right part of the track of the car is basically on the track. Is still on the Degner, and I think his championship is honestly over because he needed at least a 1 point
sorry, yeah.
on Iggy. And now it's going to be at 0.
Yeah, that is an absolute crying shame. And if I want to blame anyone, we'll blame Dexter. We're throwing you right under the bus. He typed in the chat. What a nice clean start. There we go, Dex. But yeah, no, absolute. Sorry, not trying to make light of it in some way, shape, or form. But for Yuri B, one of the big hitters. He does have the mandatory pit stop to take, but it's going to take him about a week and a half to get to the pits, which means he's going to have an in lap that's about the same length as an in and out lap, which is going to put him a fair way down the order. You're having a giggle, mate, is in the pit to take that mandatory stop as we speak. And Blue Mosquito and SOP's Cool, who I'm sure's trajectory was adversely affected by the goings on in front of them, find themselves battling for 14th and 15th at corner. Up in 8th is an ill wind that blows no one some good. Mighty Iggy up into 7th position. APX Rogue 9th, mix 64. That's pretty much the easiest comeback point calculations that anyone's ever had to do. He started in 20th, he's in 10th. It's going to be a fairly impressive feat to go better than that. He's got APX Rogue in the Audi ahead of him. We've already heard from Chromedix. The Audi is a handful here. Can Rogue keep Mix behind them? Sorry, Rogue, but no, probably not. Our corner is just ahead. He's going to try and get moved on the Mighty Iggy. Leon Seeley's back in 6th position in the Porsche. He's going to try and get some more points if he can. Tropic then promoted up to 5th. SOP Milden. They all gave him pelters in the chat for choosing the Aston Martin. He's hovering on the edge of a podium here at Suzuka. Not too shabby in the greasy conditions. Bruno in the Lexus. It's battling with Flying Throne in the Lexus through 130R once again. It's a wide one there from Flying Throne, but he pulls it back into line for the final chicane. And it is championship leader, returning defending champion. How does he manage it once again? He's at the front of the pack. He's in a car that's not supposed to do well at this track. He's in conditions that do not favour this car. The sim racing gods have smiled once again upon the driver that had a bit of an off couple of weeks. Well, those couple of off weeks have done absolute wonders, and we have a rejuvenated car mentalist once again in the lead of a one hub race. In fact, just in the lead of an ACC race. Right, if he's on track, he's probably going to be in the lead. And with the battle that's going on behind him, that is certainly going to be a considerable amount of time, I would think, before we see someone even put a challenge in. But phenomenal stuff, Chromedix, from Car Mentalist. It's going to be really...
Another thing for the second place. Bruno's passed the Flying From.
Oh, yeah, he has.
On the Degner 2.
What? Don't
watched
what
it
did you
from-
see? I missed it, sorry. What were you looking? Did you look at that? Did you catch that? I was looking at the chat for a second.
Yeah. From went slightly out on the exit of Degner 1, catched a bit of sand, and nearly lost the car on the exit. So he needed to slow down in order to survive. And Bruno got the overtake on him. So he lost a position better than the whole race.
Yes, indeed. So there we go. The Lexi battling out. You all know you're going to be using that word from now on. They are battling out. They've swapped positions. Corner was very close on the exit of the hairpin to the Mighty Iggy. Didn't quite get it to stick though. Casper, Blue Mosquito and Cablo still having all kinds of fun, or certainly fun as far as we're concerned here from the commentary standpoint. Three of them coming into Spoon. So it's going to be slipstream engaged as they shoot along towards 130R. The Aston Martin getting the exit he was looking for there. So it's Casper that's going to be mounting an attack on Blue Mosquito through 130R. Ooh, the back of Blue Mosquito just letting go ever so slightly, hence the Aston Martin comfortably on the brakes up the inside through the final chicane. Position gained. Casper the friendly ghost, and just as friendly at the driving as well. Very quick, very clean, and he's up to 15th position. And I tell you, it's getting a bit spread out there then. Bruno proving that he is indeed the faster of the two Lexus drivers currently holding podium positions. Now that he's got himself ahead of Flying Frome, he's getting himself quite a comfortable gap there, 1.7 seconds, and not only is he getting a comfortable gap there, he's keeping a grip on Carmenlist, only 1.3, so he's only
Oh, there's a car off track.
Oh, car off track.
Yeah, the 998. Ferrari went off track on the last bit of the S's. Whilst there is a battle for 14th position going on from between the Bentley, an Aston and another Bentley, because the Aston of Casper really wants to get into Corrado's position. He seems to be faster than him, but he can't really launch the car into the Bentley. Well, not literally, of course, but
yeah, I mean, you could. You're right. You absolutely could. But yeah, no, it just we definitely don't want to see that. Oh, I tell you what, on the exit to the hairpin. Again, that's where we saw him get some pace the last time. That's what gave him the run to start the move. That got him the position for Blue Mosquito. Can Casper get one done on Cablo? And that is into Spoon. Oh, and the Bentley on the way in, looking a bit loose. A much tighter line by the Aston. He's going to get a great run. This is going to be job done. Is he going to be side by side soon enough? You know, get in the slipstream. Stay in the slipstream as long as possible. Oh yeah, he's going to get this one comfortably done before 130R, or it is going to be a code brown moment for both drivers. Pops it in front, turns into 130R. Both of them make it through beautifully, and he hangs right onto the edge of that curb. Take a bow, Casper. There's the driver of the day vote right there. He is up into 14th position. And there is 13th position. That is Corrado. He has come down the order a bit after the early incidents, promoted him a few places. Anybody wanting to take any bets on how long it's going to be before Casper gets past there? It's certainly a case of when rather than if. With the type of pace that Casper is showing, he really is enjoying those greasy track conditions in the Aston Martin. Cablo, not so much. He looks like
Floppy Fox in the inside of Mix on the same corner of, well, the disaster happened with the UDB. And Floppy Fox on the outside trying to get into Mix, a bit difficult in Dagener on the outside. Getting a better exit, because Mix went a bit out on the exit of Dageners too, but not close enough to get on the overtake into the hairpin.
Oh yeah, getting very close in the hairpin. Is he going to get the exit? I don't think we're going to get a chance to watch that, because our corner was close. Bruno is in the slipstream. Oh, the Lexus is gaining on the Audi in a straight line into 130R. If he can handle the extra pace from the slipstream, can't even talk with the excitement. Doesn't close the gap as much as I thought he might have there. I thought that was going to be a real nose to tail on the way in. Only double tap on the brake there just to make sure he didn't make contact. Two of them making it through. Carmentalist lives to fight another day. Again, here's me sitting there saying it's going to be a brave man to bet against Carmentalist. Being caught with a battle behind. Bruno, hold my beer. And he is catching
Rog went out in the chicane.
Who did?
Rog, the number 13 Audi. And
oh,
he's getting,
Rogue. Yes.
Yeah, he's probably Floppy Fox will have a chance into the Audi. Floppy Fox, the same Ferrari who passed the mixer on the last sector before. And the Audi is off on turn 1, and Floppy Fox getting to the inside of Rogue, getting the 9th position.
Indeed, there we go then. Back inside the top 10 is Floppy Fox. Mix has come into the pits actually. So he's coming to get his mandatory quite early. For me, Yuri B. It was actually Yuri B. I saw him in the chat. Yuri, that is very, very, very unfortunate. Yeah, fight for P1. It certainly is. Are getting close. The gap was at 1.3 seconds. It is much, much, much less than that now. As you can see, the hairpin once again proving to be the part of the track where the drivers are closing that gap, ready to mount that attack. Keep it nice and tight through Spoon and try and get yourself into that all-important slipstream. And he's made a bit of a pig's ear of that one. He's going to run wide. It's going to give him a difficult exit to Spoon, and he's going to find himself dropping rather than gaining.
Big one. Mix got a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Wow, that is a big one. So there we go then. Well, I tell you, I did think, was he riding his luck by not getting a lap time set? Started at the back, got himself up to 10th position, 9th position. I do apologise. Stop, go, penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is definitely not what you need when you're trying to secure yourself as many points as possible to maintain that top 10 split. As a look, Connor still behind Iggy at the moment. Of course, we used to see Connor there or thereabouts when it comes to podium finishes. And he's looking to get one done on Iggy as soon as possible, I'd imagine. But Iggy in the Honda, he's on home turf, so to speak, although famously the Honda not particularly a great runner here at Suzuka. Surprisingly enough, they own the track. But he's hanging on to that position at the moment. Once again, Bruno is closed up. He really is the quicker of the two here, it has to be said. Yeah.
Oh, the battle in front. I think the Lexus is ready to get into the Audi of Car Mentalist, because he's very close. He's into the 2/10, and I think he can get him right into maybe the outside of the hairpin. The Audi got a better traction exit, which is pretty classic with considering the Audi, who is very strong on this compartment, and get enough advantage into the Spoon. So maybe next lap you will get him.
Yeah, he's certainly lining up though. You'd have to say at the moment it does look like you were saying earlier, Chromalix, the Audi definitely a bit of a handful in these conditions, and the Lexus pretty famous for being quite good in the wet. And I think what we're seeing here is definitely a visualisation of that. We know how good Car Mentalist is, but he is being reeled in pretty much every opportunity. It's all going to be down to his defensive prowess, really, that's going to keep him in front, because the car underneath him at the moment looks inferior to the one we're on board with. The Lexus is chasing them down.
Yeah, the difference is mostly because the Audi is very good in this track, because it's a high speed downforce prompt racetrack, and the problem is that the surface is currently wet, so the Lexus has the advantage in terms of conditions, while the Audi has the advantage in terms of track. So it's a battle between who is stronger in what difficulty, better to say, because the two cars has two difficulties and two advantages. So it's really up to the driver if he's more comfortable with one or the other con or pro.
Yeah, there's Dex in the chat as well. He is popping up saying Bruno should try an undercut.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, there. I couldn't wait to get that answer out there. Chromadix, master race strategist, straight away on board. Yep, definitely get the undercut. So how?
Yeah.
So if you're going for the undercut, we're going to have to stay on board with this battle just in case because they are so mesmerisingly close. I daren't look anyplace else because the lead will change hands, almost guaranteed. So at the moment, if you're looking to do the undercut, how early in the race would you take it? Because at the moment he's right on top of him, so he could be losing pace. Is there a point where you think, right, I have to come in now to make the undercut work, or I potentially could see him come into the pits in front of me? Like, we've got 35 minutes left of the race. Do you think getting it done before the 30-minute mark guarantees that he's going to come in before Mentalist, or is he going to be dicing with it a bit because he doesn't come in this time? So yeah, is there a time frame you would have in mind if you were going for the undercut, Chrome?
Actually, I would have come when Mix came into the pits in the 40-minute mark, mostly because the weather is settled to anticipate you the next 30 minutes, and in the next 30 minutes it wasn't going to be so worse compared to now. So I would have beat in the 40-minute mark. This would have caused probably some shake in the head of Mentalist, because he thought, well, he's going to undercut, he's going to be faster in the outlap, and he can catch me because effectively he will get more heat into the tires, clean air possibly. So Mentalist would have beat in very, very likely, and therefore it would have been all a chain reaction of everyone pitting. So I would have been the first to pit in the 40 minutes mark, so to get the best conditions possible to pass Mentalist. He is currently too close to him, and
as highlighted there by the exit to the hairpin, that's really close.
The fact is that the Lexus is clearly faster in the first sector, and the Audi is clearly faster in the second sector. As I said in the pre-race, the setups are made to suit better the first or the second sector. You can't have both sectors made perfectly because they are so different. So I would have pit straight on as I was closing by, not when I was close to Mentalist, but as I was closing by Mentalist, I would have pit. So like 8 minutes ago.
Okay, so there we go then. Dex in the chat saying bring on the undercut. Chromodix in the chat saying if you're going to do it, now is the time. Oh, and it's Mentalist who's come in to take his pit.
That's the risk. The one in front can also undercut you, and he waited way too long. And now Mentalist is going to undercut Bruno, surely getting in front of... Well, now I'm suspicious of something. Most of the cars had some troubles in these 30 minutes. So I wonder if he can get stuck behind someone. Although I think it's a bit difficult considering the long pit lane and the fact that he needs to wait 30 seconds. Yeah, no, it's pretty unlikely. Never mind.
As unlikely, yeah, I was double checking 2 or 3 things here and I've lost my own train of thought twice. I'm just having a look at that. Yeah, so Mick64's back out. Even with the stop go penalty, still finds himself ahead of Yuri B. Now down in 18th place. Carmentos has come back out the pit. There is still hope for him though. He's come back out. Yeah, he's going to come back out in 15th position.
Yeah, but he has a lap of advantage on UDB.
Oh wow, yeah, so he is. Yeah, still this lap up.
There are 2 minutes of difference between Mentalist and UDB, so pretty unlikely UDB has some real chances of battling for the top 10.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, the gap between himself and the race leader to see if he still had a chance. Yeah, the race win's definitely not happening. I think top 5 is a huge ask. Top 10. I mean, he needs 12 to get some points, and even then, it's going to be absolutely nowhere enough to make the blindest bit of difference. the top 10. At the moment, 8 points is Tropic Rot. He's currently in 4th. Couple of pit stops to iron out. And Bruno has responded straight away. So we are going to get a nice, quick answer.
Too late.
Who is undercut who? Sorry, say that again, Chromedix?
No, I said the answer is too late because honestly, unless Car Mentalist had a very bad pit stop, which is still possible. Not to say that it's impossible, but that's the only reason Bruno can get ahead of Car Mentalist.
Yeah, well, Car Mentalist, that is the halfway mark in the race, and we have a plus next to the rain clouds, which means the rain is going to get heavier just as the race is ending. Car Mentalist on his out lap. Art Connor still trying to get past Mighty Iggy. He's still having some serious fun. Bruno is out into turn 1. Car Mentalist is on the start finish straight, so we can declare the undercut an epic fail. Bruno is the man. He is well and truly in the lead. Car Mentalist is only just coming through turn 1 now, and Bruno is...
Mentalist had a major issue because it's way too behind, too far from Bruno. Unless Bruno didn't change his tires.
I don't think that's quite a tyre.
No.
Change.
No, I just think. I just think that Car Mentalist had a very bad pit stop. There are 10 seconds between each other.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Or maybe Car Mentalist is just taking his foot off the gas a bit. Let's face it, he's top of the championship. He's inside the top 10 quite comfortably. But yeah, you know what? Who am I kidding? It's Car Mentalist. He wants to win every race he takes part in. That's what separates these top end drivers. Same as Yuri, same as Mix, and indeed same as the man provisionally in the lead at the moment. It is Bruno in the Lexus. So yeah, a bit of a slap in the face for Honda there, given the Toyota car currently leading the race here in Japan. Art Connor still can't find that way past the Mighty Iggy, who has got that particular Honda absolutely dialed in. Whole lot of defending going on, but they are still behind, and it's kept Leon Seeley just ahead of them. I didn't think Leon would be able to stretch that gap with the two battling behind him. Not the case. In fact, it's bringing Floppy Fox very much back into play.
Ooh, the Aston of Connor is really trying to get into the Honda of Iggy. He is literally touched the bumper of the Honda for how close he is.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I had to absolutely breathe in there as we see them coming through the Degnas. You would have to say Connor looking like the quicker of the two in that Aston Martin. Well, the Honda driver.
Yeah, but the Honda is very good on the brakes.
Yeah, he certainly is. There we see the window light. Ooh, the back end of the Ferrari of Floppy Fox lighting up in the background there. Last week's driver of the day finds himself in 7th at the moment. I really am getting myself out of breath with the levels of excitement of some of the racing that we've seen going on, and it's only going to keep on getting better with 26 minutes left to go through. Spoon we come once again. So what do you think then? I mean, we're just going over the same point again, although did Car Mentalist have a dodgy pit stop? Does Art Connor go for the undercut on Iggy? I mean, surely if he was going to do that, he'd have done it by now, because that has been 6 or 7 laps. He has been tucked in behind that Honda. So again, Chromedix, I'm assuming your advice to Connor would be get yourself into the pit and try and get out on some clear track.
Yeah, the main advice is that, because if you're faster than Flappy Fox in the pits going for, well, it's the best for him. It was getting closer to the two battling, so better to pit. But actually, it depends, because if your tires get, if you're faster on the, like you're faster but not enough to overtake, you can use your car in front as an advantage to hit your tires, but which is in the rain is. Oh wait, Floppy Fox didn't change the tires. Floppy Fox just went for fuel.
Oh, right, okay.
Interesting. Being brave.
Yeah, that is being a bit brave.
Yeah, because, well, the wet tires can resist. As I said before, they can become the Interslicks. And it's okay, but I don't know if he has dry tires or wet tires. So it will be useful. And the Aston Martin trying to get onto the Honda of Iggy, just on the on the exit of the hairpin, but still not close enough to get the overtake done. And I think it's the moment for real to pit. And 85.
Yeah, coming out to spin then, Aston Martin once again.
And Carmentalist overtook the two cars, the two Bentleys who still needs to pit, of Cablo and Eddie.
Alright, okay.
So
he's now 8 seconds behind, and yeah, so there we go, there's the timing. And Dex in the chat actually saying, yeah, the reason Carmentalist undercut didn't work is because Bruno is so much quicker. Yeah, it's safe to say, and it's Blue Mosquito finds himself with Bruno just behind him. And Connor has seen the light, and that is the light at the pit entry. Comes in from 6th, releases Iggy.
Bruno in the inside of the Bentley on the 130R.
Double tap.
And gets everything done.
Gets through nice and quickly there. Carmentalist has extricated himself from this little gaggle of cars fairly quickly. Fox out on track behind Cablo and Eddie, so that's a couple of positions he'll instantly gain when they do come into the pits. 23 minutes to go. Oh, and was that a fake out there by Cablo? Did he pretend he was going in the pits, or did he just have a wiggle? Looks like Eddie had a bit of a wiggle as well. Rogue has come into the pits. Floppy Fox goes around the outside of Eddie into turn 1. Another pull, and that's an Aston Martin.
I don't understand. The Aston Martin is... it's Connor.
It's Connor.
Okay. Actually, Connor...
Yeah, it just says that. He's just come out of the pit, so we'll let the timing board update.
No,
he's definitely behind Bruno. Yeah, there we go.
I'm thinking about before, because Carmentalist was likely 10 seconds ahead of Connor, and I think because of traffic, and Carmentalist lost a good chunk of time. So maybe for once I was slightly mistaken, because actually the overcut let you get rid of the slower car faster, and that's something I didn't consider, because effectively the grid is a bit the gap between the first and the last in the race is actually not small, so you can effectively get stuck into the traffic and lose some time, effectively speaking. And that's something I didn't consider, so my fault for once. So actually,
a lot to take into consideration though, and Floppy Fox, yeah. There's a lot of toing and froing and changing. I tell you, Iggy's actually looking like he might close up on Leon then. Frome is leading the race at the moment, with Milden in 2nd and Tropic in 3rd, of course, all still to take their pit stop. It is Bruno, our net race leader at the moment, being in and out of the pits. 21 minutes still to go.
Wow, Carmentalist gained, went from 10 seconds to 4 in the span of 2 laps.
Wow.
That's on the gap between Bruno and Carmentalist. So I think Carmentalist went to change his tires and Bruno didn't. That's the only
Right,
thing that
okay.
comes to my mind, because the gap is way too. It was way too giant as a gap, and now is literally nothing considering the same gap 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and given the pace before the pit stop, it definitely looked like, for all the world, Bruno. Oh, you can put that save on your highlight reel, car mentalist. You're welcome. We caught that one.
Okay, that was something.
That was yeah. Clean up in aisle 3. Clean up in aisle 3.
Yeah, Blue Mosquito is like, yeah, pass, please. Do
Yeah.
whatever you want with that, with the drift in the rain, in the Audi, in the Degner. Okay, enjoy.
Yeah,
Do whatever you want.
Just as you do, casually as you do. Floppy Fox trying to get his way past Art Corner. Car Mentalist has got past Blue Mosquito. Mighty Eggy trying to get past Leon Seeley. And shout outs in the chat for Casper from Colin. Good evening once again, Colin. Hello. Hope you're enjoying the race so far. It has been phenomenal. Casper is doing well. It is safe to say. Couple 3 overtakes in 2 laps. Finds himself up into 7th. Definitely on for maintaining a top 10 position. I would say when the pit stops iron themselves out if he keeps showing this type of pace. Still got Mosquito Eddie to take their pits. Corrado's retired to the pits and we seem to have lost one as well. We started with 20. We're down to 19. I've just noticed there Corrado's retired to the pits. Eddie's coming to take his pits. Floppy Fox on corner. Yuri B is still out as well. Great to see the level of commitment from Yuri there, down in 18th position. He finds himself willfully trying to close the gap and claw back some semblance of a finish, but he's going to need to make up 6 places in 18 minutes to get himself a point on the board, and even then that will not be enough to see Yuri B make it into the top 10 split. It is a mathematical impossibility. So Yuri, his only chance of getting into the top 10 split is finishing in 6th. Yeah, yep, exactly. It's a big ask. It's a big ask. Let's jump on board with the mighty Iggy though. Before the stream, just so, oh, that's not the button, John. That was the standards. Here's the on-track action. I'm a professional. I've done this before, I promise. So again, just showing the depth and knowledge. He mentioned that before the race could potentially be one to watch for getting himself a top 10 split position. Finds himself in 5th in the Honda and pressuring for 4th. Once again, absolutely on the ball, Chromedix. He does look like he's got a handful in the Honda, but you're one to watch. He certainly is worth the watch. 5th at the moment and going great guns in the Honda.
Yeah, considering how the championship went for him, on the edge of being eliminated from the top 10, being in this position is currently the best thing possible for him, considering he is also in a Honda, which isn't the best car on track. Actually, it's one of the worst. If it's like an Audi, in terms of feeling, but slower. It's on. I did some tests. It's like alpha seconds slower. So actually, he's doing a mega job getting into 5th against one of the strongest car in the grid, the Porsche. So yeah, it's super what he's doing.
Yeah, it really is, and he's applying a lot of pressure to the Porsche as well of Leon Seeley, who is soaking up at the moment. Full credit. He really is, and both of them inside the top 5 at the moment. Of course, still got those pit stops to take. I'm just quickly looking. There it is. Of course, the drivers' questions that we did bring up, the drivers do questions. It's only taken me 45 minutes to get to them. The track feels more suited to F1 cars. Do you find that to be the case? He doesn't actually have a lot of experience in the F1 cars, but what he knows from GT cars, it makes every track more challenging and fun in some way. I don't really want to say about this one. And what kind of setup are you looking to run? The one with 100 kilograms of bricks in my trunk to stop the rear end stepping out through 130R. It certainly seems to be working for him. And do you think the car you've chosen, which is the point I was getting to, do you think the car you've chosen is an advantage or disadvantage to this track? He said the Honda NSX is a disadvantage everywhere. But he said it doesn't actually feel too bad around Suzuka. I think I've got a decent chance if some things go my way. And he did actually ask about his confidence as well. See, he was honestly quite confident. Pace is there by my standards, even better so in the wet, and it should hopefully be a good one. And is there anything that hasn't gone well over the last 2 races that you needed to work on? And in all honesty, he said, I'd like to believe that it's nothing I have done wrong. It's mainly me slowly getting used to the car and, importantly, to its weaknesses. Definitely need to learn to drive within the limits of the car to absolutely maximise its on-track performance. And as we keep saying, he's definitely doing that at the moment. Speaking of maximising performance, it is that man car mentalist once again. 1.7 seconds is the gap. The track does look a bit drier. The rain is still falling. It is going to get a bit heavier, and the track is still greasy. Now down to 28 degrees, so we've lost 3 degrees since qualifying and 2 since the race started. And as car mentalist now 1.7 seconds going into Spoon. Casper, who we just mentioned, he is catching up to Cool in the Ferrari, who got caught up in those early incidents. Iggy still trying to find his way past Leon. Both these drivers still to pick Chromedix. 13 minutes left to go. Do you think it's now just a case the two of them are just really enjoying this battle and staying out, or do you think there is some kind of semblance of pit strategy involved here?
Well, as it stands, I really think he is putting all of his abilities in just this race, and he's maximizing everything from the Honda. I also want to link myself to what you said about getting used to the car, because effectively, if you're not used to a car, and you change a lot during seasons, like I do, unfortunately, because you want to try different setups, different cars, and etc. Getting used to a new car, completely different from all the others, because the Honda is very different from any other car you can see on the grid in every single aspect of it. After 3 races is actually a really good achievement. Currently, you get used to a car after a season. You really get used to a car, and if you can completely, not say master, but at least understand the car, because for mastering a car you need 3 seasons at least. But to understand a car, if you can do it mid-season, it's actually a pretty good advantage towards the ones who have changed the car and can't get used to it. Or better said, not changing the car, but trying a new car, which is something most drivers are starting to do. Like I remember in the beginning, everyone was going Lexus, and then everyone was going Mercedes or Ferrari, and then everyone is going Bentley. So everyone wants to change, and the inside of Tour 1 maybe? No, not yet. So yeah, it's actually all dependent on whether or not you can get used to the difficulty of changing, of getting used to a new car.
Yeah, it certainly can be a very, very, very steep learning curve, but as we can see, some of the drivers are taking to the
Car
rear
Mentalist
equipment.
is really close to Bruno in the order of 2 tenths, considering he started from 10 seconds away, and that's possibly, virtually speaking, the lead of the race.
Yeah, I would say this is the net lead of the race we are watching the battle unfold for. The Lexus has closed in. Yes, so he's closed right in the gap then. The Lexus, I was singing all its praises for being the better car in the wet. The Audi, we were saying, was struggling in the greasy conditions. But it is Car Mentalist who has absolutely closed that gap, as you say, from that pit stop. Bruno looked the quicker of the two drivers from this just before the pit stops, but definitely not the case at the moment. Oh, he's going to go up the inside. Wow. Wow. Well, there you go, Chromadex. The Audi in greasy conditions. Excuse me, says Car Mentalist. Let me show you how it's done. Impressive stuff.
The setup, we saw it in the world race. Car Mentalist is way stronger in the second sector, and it was the proof. In the first sector, he was slightly far during the last laps, and now he was very close to the Lexus. And in the second sector, he just needed to launch the car and get into the inside, and it was it.
Yep, and it really is going to be a race right down to the very end for some of the
into the outside of the Porsche into turn one, and they are side by side.
Where is Iggy?
P4?
Oh, there he is.
P5
P4,
now.
he is, sorry, yeah.
No, what is it? P4, okay.
Yeah, because
because
Tropic's coming in the pits as well, but so he's still in behind them there. For all excitement, I was looking too far down at the field. But yeah, he is tucked in, right in behind, still not quite managing to get it done through the chicane on that attempt. But he is definitely probing. They've still got to come in the pits as well. Less than 8 minutes still to go. Really
I don't understand why he's not pitting, because he is clearly faster than the Porsche, but he somehow wants to earn it on track, which is a good thing, because he was getting on the hairpin, although he didn't really manage to close the to finish the overtake. He was just getting seen into the mirror. But I don't understand why he's not pitting. If he pits, that's it. That's the position done. There's nothing more to do. And he still wants to. Oh, the Audi. The Porsche is drifting. The Porsche drifting into the spoon, and the Honda into the inside of Leon City, getting into the main straight into the 150R. Honda into the inside, Porsche into the outside. That's just a proof of who wants to brake later, and the Honda gets in front of the Porsche getting into the outside, we take it into the inside, still trying to finish the overtake and into the third position currently, ahead of the Porsche, ahead of Leon Chile, and that's great for him because he's now, everything I said until now, so he needs to pit, scratch it, he just needs to go as far as possible because he has clean hair and that's the best thing for him.
Yes, he does. So there you go. The drivers do love to make a mockery. Get in the pits, bang, overtake, right, get out of here. The mighty Iggy getting it done on track. And SOP Cool's coming in the pits after Casper breathing down his neck. Floppy Fox still trying to get past Art Connor. Yuri B's caught up to the back of Jason. In fact, he's got up the inside of Jason on the way into Spoon. So that's position taken for Yuri B, back up to 17th. Then Cool in the pits. Casper still to take his pit. How far can he go? Leon Seeley just been overtaken by the mighty Iggy. What a battle that was. I think I'm just going to spend the rest of this season sitting up listening to you commentate this stuff, Crovidix. It's awesome. But up at the front, it is 6 minutes still to go. I'm not going to say done and dusted, but don't want to be jinxing it, but Car Mentalist. Yet again, another absolute champion's drive driving the Audi this season around, getting to grips with a new car can usually take it can usually take about a season. No. Not when you got the talent the car mentalist does. He's going to find himself leading the way. He's certainly looking at the top spot in the race, top spot in the championship, and he has got to be massive favourite to win it and defend his crown, especially with Yuri B struggling the way he has. I'm also looking to see, it's going to be interesting to see where Milden and Froome come out. Froome leading the way at the moment, we know he's quick. 5 minutes to go at these lap times, 2, maybe 3 laps left. Let's see what these 3 drivers do then, and it is Iggy coming into the pits. Leon Seeley is staying out. He has got Flying Froome not behind him. Oh, it's Mick 64 in 16th, trying to unlap himself against Leon in 3rd. Shows you the pace that he's got there. Floppy Fox still trying to get past Connor. Where is Iggy going to come back out? We'll tell you what. Well, the move is there to be made, I think. The move is there to be made. Beautiful defending by Connor. Floppy keeps a hold of it. The mighty Iggy still in the pits. Car mentalist, of course. Bruno, Tropic all through. Connor is through as well, but Iggy is off and running. Connor's into turn 1, so he's just behind Floppy Fox and ahead of SOP Cool. So 6th position, unless my maths is as bad as I think it is. And it says that Car Mentalist is just behind them. I can confirm that is not the case. It is Casper.
Oh, the Nemesis is out!
Oh, wow! Oh,
the Lexus went into the Car Mentalist also.
Yeah, a bit of a clip there. And oh, I feel like that's my fault because I did say, I did say, yeah. Well, no, we'll only say 6 minutes left. We won't say it's done and dusted. And through the Degners, the greasy track conditions get the better of Car Mentalist in the Audi, and Bruno says Lexus very much. And finds himself in the lead of the race. Flying Froome, his fellow Lexus driver, comes in to take his mandatory pit with 3 minutes left of the race clock. Milden joining suit. You would guesstimate that Leon Seeley's going to come in on this lap as well. Yes, he is. And Casper doesn't have a choice. He's going to have to come in on this lap. So the last 4 drivers to take the mandatory pit stop are going to come in and get that done. Floppy Fox is going to try and get the move done on Art Corner. They're going to gain a few positions, and I tell you what, it's a quick stop and drop from Flying Froome. Unbelievable, Jeff. Well, we've all been talking about net leaders of the race. Flying Froome in the Lexus has been getting the job done. Never mind any net lead, whatever. He's leading. Not quite a 14-second gap back to Bruno, I don't think. That'll sort itself out in a minute. 2 seconds back to Car Mentalist. There's Milden out the pits. Ahead of Tropic Raw and Leon Seeley. Art Corner's in the mix as well then. He's actually up beside SOP Milden. The timing board is about to make a mockery of everything I just said. So let's let that catch up as everyone catches their breath and marvels at the wonder. Chromedix. Flying Froome. That is unbelievable. He has flown under the radar and he's going to win this race.
Well, he went for the classic strategy of slow and steady wins the race. And effectively it was like this. Car Mentalist, I think he lost like at least 6 seconds. I don't know how much exactly, but surely that's because he pushed too much on the limit. And it was completely unnecessary, considering it was 2 minutes from the end of the race. And he was virtually first. And I don't understand why he pushed so hard. That's the same for it's the same statement for UDB and the same statement of Mix. It's not necessary to always push. Sometimes you can and you have to slow down a little to avoid losing everything. And Codemasters went very close to the edge of losing everything. Although it was like 2 minutes from the end, if he went slightly over the curb, even further, drifting even further, he would have went into the wall and losing everything he did for an hour. So.
Oh, there we go. No, you're okay. Get yourself a quick drink. Yeah, listen, I understand completely, my friend. We need to take a little break now and again. The action, trying to keep track of everything. And they're going side by side once again at the turn one. They're on Aston action. It's SOP Mulder and Art Corner with Floppy Fox patiently watching in the background. We are on the final lap. The leader is on the final lap, and there's a battle. Right, ooh, I'll tell you what, through the anti-backed curves, that got interesting there for two of the cars.
Actually, there's the Ferrari who wants to overtake the two Astons. Considering the two Astons has like 3 or 4 years of difference each other, because in front there is the old version Aston, and in the back there is the new version Aston, which is great to see two different ages of GC3 cars battling each other. And currently, the old version is paradoxically in front of the new version, who is in front of the Ferrari of Fluffy Fox, and all of them was the same position, the fifth one. Indeed. And oh, there's the touch! And the Ferrari touched the Aston Martin, but it's still on track.
Yeah, a bit of a gentle love tap there, just going into the hairpin of destiny, as it shall now be known, given the amount of action that we've seen there this evening. But the action is about to draw to a close, and everyone needs to stand up. Self-care is a good thing, get some blood circulation, but everyone get to your feet. I'm about to stand up, and we're going to give a standing ovation to Flying Frome in the Lexus, because that is, quite frankly, a phenomenal drive. You let everything else unfold around him, and here we see him crossing the line on lap number 29. 1 hour on a greasy track in the Lexus, and Flying Frome is our race winner. Massive congratulations to him. Massive congratulations to Bruno, another Lexus driver. 2 Lexi. Finds himself on the podium, 2nd position after some great battling. Takes the checker flag, and Car Mentalist. Just can't wait to get him in the commentary box to ask him some questions. Don't even know where to start. He takes himself 3rd. We've got Tropic Rot in 4th. We've got SOP Milden in 5th place. Art Corners in 6th. Floppy Fox in 7th. And Mighty Iggy takes 8th place. Chromedix on the button once again. Leon Seeley gets himself to 9th. Will that be enough? I don't think so. Casper with a great finish in 10th. SOP Cool. I tell you what, there's going to be some battle in the bottom 10 split. Like, this is going to be absolutely sensational. APX Rogue finishes in 12th. Blue Mosquito in 13th position. Cablo in 14th. Mix 64 comes home in 15th. Lucky driver. He got the first 2 rounds in the bag. Eddie's already been given the checker flag in 16th. Yuri B. 2-3 pole positions this season so far out the 3 races. Finds himself finishing down in 17th and down in the bottom split for the rest of the season. And we had one more driver just disappear. Corrado finished in the pits. Jason in 17th place. So congratulations to all involved in that one. Chromedix, that was not a bad opening race for your first shot in the box here at One Hub Racing.
No, considering I nearly died towards the end, it was not.
Absolutely incredible stuff. And as we say, there's going to be the split as the season moves on. Next week it's going to be Monza, where we start afresh with the points. As we have a look at the current standings, Carmentalist is definitely through. Mix 64 has done enough with that 26-point haul to see himself through. The mighty Eggy is going to sneak it. Yuri B is going to be out. Leon Seeley is going to be in the bottom 10. SOP Milden is going to struggle to get himself into the top 10. Giving a quick look at those points, Bruno, with that drive, has secured himself a spot in the top 10. And I believe with a 4th position, Tropic has as well. SOP Cool, with 15 points and a point from this race, is going to find himself in the top 10 by the skin of his teeth. Unless I'm sorely mistaken. And if I am, I apologise, Cool. But no, you, from what I can see, are going to get yourself into the top 10. Let's have a look. Yes, Dex, to answer the question, absolutely 100%. Most definitely. That's the wrong button, and that's the wrong button. Where? There it is there. Let's have a look and see who is waiting in the interview box. Take up some media stardom. Let's face it, it's ridiculous, the performances that he puts in. Where is that? There it is. The performances he puts in. Finds himself very, very lucky to be on the podium. But let us get him in here. It is our defending championship. Founder Sim Racing Gods giveth and taketh away with that race. Did first place and then threw it into the wall between the Degnas, but still finds himself unbelievably on the podium. It is the Audi driving Mr. Carmentalist himself. I'm really getting quite annoyed at this level of performance you're putting in week after week. It's getting out of hand.
Well, that's one way to put it, at least.
It is incredible. You had a couple of off weeks before the season. You made no bones about it. You were so coming into the season, and then a new car. You're wiping the floor with them. Even when you have a bad race and put it in the wall, you're still finishing on the podium. When it comes to competition, you're absolutely right up there. I mean, there's so much to go over. The start of the race, you've got 2 Ferraris willfully keeping you behind them, and then a bit of contact, suddenly you find yourself in the lead with a very racy Lexus up your rear. How was the first stint for you out there?
Yeah, it was very stressful, to say the least. I got but for once, actually, I got a really, really good launch off the start. I think I'm imagining that a lot of people, because of the conditions, are running maybe higher traction control, so they weren't getting the best launch off the line, and I ran lower traction control throughout that whole race. So I thought it would gain me a little bit at the start, and it did. So I managed to jump Frome into turn 1, which was good. And then, yeah, the Ferraris, I had a feeling something was going to happen. I knew that Yuri was the faster of the two, and I know that Yuri, obviously the position he was in going into this race, he had to win this race to be basically a part of that, the top part of the split, basically. So I knew he was going to try a move. When it did happen at the Degnas, it was a shame to see, but it was kind of inevitable. I mean, someone needed to back out well before the Degnas, and no one did, really. So they ended up both off the track, which was a shame to see. And then, yeah, Bruno was really, really fast in that Lexus. I know the Lexus is good at Suzuka. It's probably one of the Lexus, if not the best track for the Lexus. And the conditions as well suit the Lexus. The Lexus has always been good in colder conditions in the wet as well. So, yeah, he was breathing down my neck that whole time. I managed to hold him off for as long as I could. But then, obviously, strategy played a part into it. So, yeah, that's when the race kind of flipped a little bit.
Yeah, to say the race flipped a little bit is an understatement of what went on. Chromedix's first stint in the commentary box could not have been more hectic, so it seems only fitting that someone that can turn the excitement up to 2,000 had you guys turning the excitement up on the track. The second stint as well. I mean, let's get straight to the the crux of the matter here. Degna's right-hand wall, stage exit, right-hand side. What happened? Complacency, lack of concentration, something just bite you the wrong way, space bump?
The problem with the Audi at this track is that there's not really a single part of this track that suits the Audi, apart from maybe like turn 1 and 2. But beyond that, the Audi's quite lazy in the S's. It's really skittish at high speed, so I was kind of on the edge quite a bit through 130R and through the Degnas, the first Degna at least, pretty much that whole race. And that time around, yeah, just barely tapped the curb, but just caught it at the wrong angle, and it spat me out, and I couldn't save it, basically. I was lucky that it wasn't worse. I didn't hit anything, really. Well, Bruno hit the back of me when I came back on, but it was only light contact, so it didn't really affect either of our races in that sense. But, yeah, it was a real shame, because I was coming into this race not expecting to be anywhere near the podium, if I'm completely honest, just based on the practice I'd been having. I had no luck with the car. The car felt awful all the way through the practice sessions that I'd been doing, so I was expecting to be well down, maybe like 7th or 8th place in this race, just based on what I'd been doing. So I think that just makes it all the more gut-wrenching in the end that I made that mistake at the end, and lost what could have been a battle for the win between myself and Frome. But it's my mistake. I'll learn from it. I'll move on. I'm still on the podium, like you said, and yeah, it's been a really good start to the season in a new car for me in all different types of circuits and conditions. So I've withstood all the pressure so far. So hopefully it continues that way.
Yeah, well, you did say in the pre-race interviews that for the first time in a while you weren't really confident. It's like they say in football, if you can have a bad performance and eke out a point or two, it's not a bad day at the office. I'd certainly say that's safe to say for you. Chromedix, do you have any question for someone that you've traded paint with on track? You've now got him in the comedy box. It is Mr. Car Mentalist himself.
Yeah, actually, I was pretty surprised by the fact that your gap from Bruno went to -1 to +10, and I don't understand why it happened. If you got caught in something like changing tires and he didn't, or you just you braked too early into the pit lane or something else? What happened?
So that was a strategy thing, definitely on my end. I thought with it being quite cold and the track conditions being greasy, I knew that the tyres were going to go off. There's going to be quite a big drop off in the tyre performance towards the end of the race, which there was in the end. I think I was running about 1.5 seconds a lap faster than Bruno most of the time in that second stint, when Bruno was the faster of the two of us in the first stint. So I knew that there was going to be a tyre drop off, so I thought put a fresh set of tyres on it, give myself more grip in the colder conditions, and that will hopefully pay dividends. And of course as well, Bruno and Frome are both in the Lexus, which is of course notoriously difficult on tyres as well. So I thought I'd give myself at least that advantage. I wanted to go aggressive rather than defensive, because I know that if I went defensive with my strategy and tried to hold on to the lead, I probably would have just spun the car earlier than I did. So yeah, it was a strategy call for me to drop back behind.
And the second thing is, during the commentary I said that the Audi is actually pretty suited for this track, but not for the conditions. Because the Audi has some advantages in everything that is fast and it's a turn, but everything that is slow, it's a complete rock. Or the other way around, it spins constantly. And can you confirm this, or did you have any other thought about the car and the track? Because, well, honestly, I always say that different people have different opinions on track, car conditions, and etc. etc. So this is my subjective opinion about this. How about you? Can you confirm, or do you have any other considerations about this?
I kind of think along the same lines as you, in a sense that, yeah, the track on paper, the track should be pretty good for the Audi. It's got a good mix of medium and low speed stuff. There's not too much high speed corners apart from 130R really. So it does play to the Audi's strengths, but like you said, it was a cold race. It was damp conditions. That's what it was all the way through the practice sessions as well. And I think because of that, the Audi just didn't bite into the surface. So the advantages that I could get in the low speed, in the medium speed corners, I couldn't get because the car just wasn't biting into the surface anymore. So, like I mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but up through the S's is usually where the Audi's in hot conditions is where the Audi's really, really strong in the S's. But because it was so cold, I was just understeering, and the more I understeered, the more the burnt the tyres out, and the worse the understeer got. So, yeah, the Audi, on paper it should have been suited to Suzuka, but the conditions really played against it. So it was kind of a 180 flip in how the car felt. The car went from feeling amazing on a hot track at Suzuka to feeling awful for pretty much the whole race, which was a new experience for me. It's been a long time since I've had a car that's felt that skittish and such. I mean, it was good fun to drive until it bit me.
Welcome to the Audi experience.
It's funny, that's exactly how Chromedix describes the car. It's a great car to drive until it bites you, and when it does, it's instant death, no questions asked, straight for the jugular. Good
yeah,
night,
I still
Vienna.
say that the Audi is probably the faster car on the grid. The very little problem, it's not too big of a problem, is that it kills you. So
Exactly.
I feel like it's the same as the Porsche. Like if the right driver's in it and you can get the right setup, it's lightning fast, almost unbeatably fast. But you make one small error or step offline, and there's no going back from it. There's no saving it.
Yeah, it's a fine line in the sand, and once it's crossed, it's just waterfall. Finally, before we get flying from all the plaudits coming his way after that drive, for the rest of the season, I keep asking you this every week. I don't imagine it's changed, but you got to fancy yourself for to winning the championship. To be fair, the racing gods have smiled upon you. 3 your main protagonists in the 6-way battle are going to find themselves in the bottom 10, so they're straight out. Yeah, well, Yuri B, Milden I think is going to struggle, and SOP Cool's going to struggle. Who was the other one I half figured out? Leon Seeley, Casper, Yuri B, Mike Yeggy's maybe going to sneak it.
Yeah.
But they're going to be, definitely Milden, Leon Seeley and Yuri all in the bottom 3, leaving you to contend with Mix 64, Floppy Fox and SOP Cool, with Flying Frome, of course, now a hot favourite as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for the rest of the season. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm specifically looking forward to it as well because, obviously, apart from Rogue, who had a good first race and then since then hasn't quite had the smoothest of runs, we're the only ones in the Audi, or anything almost like the Audi, apart from Leon in the Porsche, who's obviously not quite got to grips with that car just yet. So it's going to be interesting. Of course, people might choose new cars for this second half of the season now. I'll straight up and head up say that I'm not. I'm sticking with the Audi for the rest of the season. I'm pretty happy with how it's gone so far. So it's going to be interesting to see what drivers do. But at the moment, it seems like my championship is me versus 3 Lexuses, which is quite interesting. That's never happened before. Like, I've never seen more than 1 Lexus on a track at once, and usually it was me driving it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. And it's a shame as well to see the likes of Yuri be at the bottom. I think on pure pace alone, Yuri is probably the fastest person here at the moment. Nothing's gone his way so far, which is a real shame to see. But good to see Flying Frome get his first win, though. It's been coming for a while, so it's good to see him get up there. And he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as well for the rest of the season.
Oh, yes, he is. And we are going to get him into the commentary box next. But again, I'm running out of superlatives. You really do test my thesaurus every week, Car Mentalist. Another phenomenal drive. Right up to the end where he made that mistake and still got on the podium. I retire from driving officially. But congratulations. Top split comfortably. defending champion and looking pretty odds-on favourite to defend that. So congratulations once again from Comedix tonight, and best of luck for the rest of the season, my man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Competizione, for joining the commentary box with Raven. I'm sure you've had a bit of a stressful time with it with Raven in the comms tonight, as per. Thanks, guys, and congrats to Frome as well. I'm sure he's listening, and congrats to Frome as well on his win.
Excellent, there we go, car mentalist. Love those little digs at the end, it keeps it interesting. But yeah, Chromedix, anybody that's in the commentary box with me, definitely got their hands full. And somebody that had his hands full for part of tonight's race and then flew under the radar up at the front, comes into the pits, quick stop and drop, and is the first man to see his first checkered flag here at One Hub Racing. It is the Lexus driving, certainly lived up to his name this evening, Flying Frome. Congratulations, Frome. How was that for you? First win. Okay, we've had that problem again. Chromedix, bear with me 2 seconds. We'll all jump in here because I think we had this slight problem last week. Can you hear me now, Frome?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm on my phone. I've never done it on my phone before, so.
Okay, got you. Yes, so for some reason, phones don't seem to work in the main commentary box, so we'll jump back into waiting for interview. I've got to give you all those plaudits again. That's the only reason you did that. You wanted to hear me say all those nice things about you again.
I didn't hear a thing.
Well, it was all very, very, very complimentary. I was saying you flew under the radar a bit in the broadcast in that second stint. Quick stop and drop. You're the first man to see the checkered flag and take your first win here at One Hub Racing on ACC. I'd imagine the grin from ear to ear is pretty wide at the moment.
It is. I'm surprised. I'm confused. It's really weird when you stay out because you've got no idea what's going on behind you. You've got no idea where you're going to come out because the gaps are so big. It's not like when you're on F1, you can kind of roughly work out where you're going to be, but it takes a lap or something to do a pit stop. So, yeah, I panicked on my formation lap because my tyres were kind of light blue instead of purple. So you know what it's like as soon as you get 3 or 4 corners in at full speed, they just skyrocketed to 29 psi. So I thought, oh no, this is going to be a long race. So yeah, my tyres were overinflated. The car felt awful all race. So I just cranked the TC up and just stayed out, and I just assumed I'd be like 3rd or 4th. So and then I came out in lead, and I was confused. I'm assuming those guys had slow stops or took fuel or something. Because, yeah, I didn't think my pace was that great. I had Blue Mosquito in a party, and he was saying car mentalists were doing 2-minute 04s, and I were doing 2-minute 06s. So, yeah, I just assumed I'd be miles behind. Did he drop it?
Yep.
Beautiful.
4 minutes to go. Halfway into the Degness he went, and out of the Degness he did not come until he'd had a full frontal impact with the right-hand wall.
Right.
So it was. Well,
I don't know if you
to finish first, you must first finish.
Myself. Well, yeah, true. I did have a couple of offs myself, so I probably cost myself 5 or 6 seconds. But I still think he might have been in front if he's had a full-on spin. But yeah, like you say, you've got to keep it on the black stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, between the mayo and the mustard, as Dr. Nailbender says, and he's 100% correct. Just, yeah, phenomenal drive. We'll let Chromedix in, of course, new to the One Hub commentary team, and just this, phenomenal show that you guys put on for his first stint in the box. So it seems fitting that we've got someone taking their first checkered flag. Chromedix, any question for Flying Frome in the Lexus?
I wanted to ask something very specific, and maybe even a criticism, but it's a good one, I promise. Why did you wait so much for pitting? Considering you also said that your tires were overpressured and you were behind the car mentalist, and I think you had the pace even to overtake him.
I think
why did you wait so much?
Because I don't think people realise just how much you can lose on this game if you come out in traffic. I mean, even if you're relatively faster than someone you come up against, if you come like car mentalists come out, I think around Blue Mosquito and Cablo, and I knew that they were losing time trying to pass them. Even if they're just blue flagged, you're still going to lose some time. And I had clear air, nothing in front of me, so I thought there's no point, disrupting it just to. For all I know, I could have come in like, a train of. I could have come out of the pits with a train of blue flags in front of me. So you never quite know where you are on track. So as long as I had clear air, I just figured I might as well just keep going and just pit as late as possible. So, and luckily it worked out quite well.
Yeah, also because I get if your tires are overpressured, I think you were on dry tires, I suspect.
Yeah.
Okay. I think everyone was, and because you said your tires were overpressured, probably you had a complete drop off into the 5-10 minute mark, probably.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I could have pit. I was thinking about pitting about halfway because like it resets your tire pressures. But they shot up so fast. I mean, literally, there's so many. It's sector 1 round here. It's just corner after corner. So literally, you'd come out of the pits with blue tires, and by the time I got to end of sector 1, they'd be overinflated already. So they didn't really seem any advantage to come in and kind of reset my tyre pressures or anything. So
because
I
you
just
didn't change
stayed out.
tires. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't change tyres. I just did one full stint. So, and you can't change your PSI when you do one stint. It resets it down, but then 3 or 4 corners later, they reinflate back up anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference unless you change tyres. But then you lose 30 seconds.
I thought in the beginning I thought you had changed tires because car mentalist slightly catched you, and actually he changed his tires. So I thought you did the same.
I considered it because the Lexus is pretty bad anyway. Because I figured because the track temperature were cool, but the tyre wear probably wouldn't be as bad as usual. But because I was running them overinflated, the last 20 minutes were it were like driving on ice. So, but by then I'd left it too late to really, do a tyre change. So I just had to kind of stick with it and hope for the best.
Well, apparently it worked.
Yeah, definitely.
GG for the win. Because it was a strategy.
Yeah, kind of lucky though, I think. But yeah, just, I forced myself into staying out really. But yeah, thankfully it worked out quite well.
Yeah, worked out well would be a massive understatement. It sees you comfortably, very comfortably, into the top 10 split for the next 5 weeks, of course. Monza, Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Kyalami and Imola. 375 minuters thrown in there as well. You've definitely shown some pace. You've taken yourself a win. You're always there or thereabouts with the podium. How do you see the rest of the season playing out for you?
I'm pretty glad to be in top 10, to be honest, because I missed the first or second race, I think. So I was a bit worried. But I think there's a few guys that have had, on-track issues that have dropped them way down the order where they should be on pace. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think I know I've not got the out-and-out lap pace, 1 lap pace of some of these guys, but I think I can kind of hang with them consistency-wise. So, I don't think I'll win it. I think guys like Car Mentalist are just too much raw pace for me to live with. But yeah, as long as you, like you said earlier, if you keep it on the black stuff, it's you can pick up good results without actually being the fastest. So yeah, kind of a top 3 or 4 I'm aiming for, I think.
Nice. Glad to hear it. And I absolutely can't wait. There's Milden in the chat giving you all the flames and congratulations. And yeah, standing ovation. I stood up. I demanded everybody stand up. I stood and applauded you across the line. Absolutely phenomenal drive. Phenomenal drive in the Lexus. And can't wait to see how you go for the rest of the season. We've got no Bruno in the commentary box, so we'll say our cheerios to Flying From, and then we'll do the comeback points and such like. So from myself and Chromedex, congratulations once again. A well-earned victory here, and all the best, and who knows what could be for the next 5 weeks.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. There we go then. Flying From. What I'll do is I'll get... Oh, no, wait a minute. Why is that not working? There we go. I'll get Chromedix and I back in the commentary box. Look at that. Of course, as well, we do have... Nope, Chromedix has just reset himself. We do, of course, have the Going Gets Tough award, as well as comeback points to be handed out. I don't think there's many surprises where those points are going. Casper took the top 10 comeback points, and of course Mix 64 took the top the bottom 10 comeback point. I made that a lot more difficult for myself than I had to, and of course it just shows why I need someone like Jess or Kane or Chromedix to keep me in check, because of course Chromedix, you and I have to pick our driver of the day and ask them a question each. So which of our drivers from this evening's race stood out to you the most? It's your first night. I'll let you pick first, just in case I tread on your toes.
Actually, it's a pretty difficult choice because of, well, a lot of factors. Track, cars, getting under the radar. But I'm going to do for a pick that went completely under the radar. I'm going for Tropic, because actually he finished in 5th and no one saw him. He went slow and steady, trying to fight for a top 10 finish in the championship, and he actually made a P5, and I think he has been mentioned like once in the whole commentary, because he went under the radar of the radar. So
yes. And what question would you like to ask him?
Yeah, probably. How did he manage to get through everything, through the cars, to the traffic, without any effective battle on track? It's difficult to express myself. It's more like how did he find so much consistency and peace in himself to gain position and to keep positions without any single battle?
Well, there we go then. That is Chromedix's choice for driver of the day. And my driver of the day is going to be the driver that won at the comeback point. It's going to be Mix 64. And my question is, what was your overall strategy, and did you worry that it had massively backfired when you got the stop-go penalty? Because I think it's safe to say that Mix, if he'd done the first two results that he'd had, going to be very difficult for him getting the top 10 if results had gone slightly differently this evening. So yeah, that would be my question for Mix 64. That is the driver interviews. As I was saying, we've got no Bruno, not the best speaker of English. Neither am I, to be fair. But so he isn't joining us in the commentary box this evening. But someone that did join us in the commentary box this evening before we do our wrap up was Christian Romano. Another absolutely outstanding stint put in the commentary box. How was your first one hub outing, Christian?
Exciting, actually, because the rain races are always my favorites, because everything changes so much minutes per minute, and actually some very good battles around the track. And well, jinxing is always a thing that happens. Thanks to you, because Carmente is crashed because of you. Anyway.
That's you and Carmentalist throwing me under the bus. What is it? You teaming up?
Hey, you threw me under the bus for the last time. Now it's your turn. You're jinxing.
It's my turn.
Carmente is going to win it.
Bang. Indeed. So there we go. Yep. So Christian Romano, I'm sure you will all agree, a more than worthy inclusion to the team, and we look forward to his continued analysis and commentary over the next 5 weeks. Those are the next 5 weeks, of course, sponsored by the Mental Health Foundation. It's good to talk. Jump on their website, a plethora of options should you feel the need. Of course, ERT with the Comeback Award, Vespertine, 3M Sim Racing, and of course, Next Level as well, all jumping in with the prizes, sponsors and partners. It is going to be home turf for Chromatics next week as we travel to Monza. A complete fresh slate. Hey, there we go. Time to get the pineapple on the pizza. It will be a terrible band, but it will be a fresh slate for our drivers point-wise. We will have 2 splits, Group X and Group Z. Drivers from both those splits will be eligible to win their choice of £25 of Amazon or PlayStation vouchers to spend as you will. But don't do what Car Mentalist did, buy another car game. It's a waste of time. Just stick with ACC. It's all good in the hood. Well, that is all we have time for this evening. Thank you to our sponsors and partners. Thank you to One Hub Racing for putting on these events and getting me involved. It is absolutely phenomenal stuff. Thank you to Dex for finally getting the weather randomness right this evening and getting us some greasy track conditions. And of course, a massive thank you once again to the man joining me in the box this evening and again for the rest of the series, Christian Romano. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks to you to let me be part of the commentary and to give me an excuse to shout a lot.
Not that you need much excuse, let's be fair. But yes, thank you, Christian. A pleasure as always. But that's it. That's all we have time for. Make sure you hit the follow button on Twitch to make sure you're kept up to date with everything that's going on at One Hub. Go on to YouTube and you can watch this all back again. I know I'm going to as soon as Jess uploads it. And we will see you all again live next week, same time, same place, round number 4. Monza, baby. Good night, stay safe.